What's up, nerds? Got a special guest for you guys tonight. My boy, only friend I have on the West Coast, my man, Trebles, host of Paranormal Radio, is going to come on tonight, and we're just going to go down a little mini rabbit hole dig there. Trebles, introduce yourself to my nerds, man, me and Enigmites.
The freaking nerds. What's up, Enigmites? What's up, Enigmites? I love the way you do that, bro.
What's up, Enigmites? Check out my boy Trebles from the West Coast, where he tells you about the Dwendes.
Yo, I have to be honest with you. First of all, I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of your listeners for allowing me to enter your space, and you for sharing your platform, bro. It's a humbling privilege. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, dude, man. It's the time zone difference is back and forth, but we make it work. And I'm telling you guys, man, Trebles is really dialed in. He's got up and coming star. That's why I like to get him. I like to get them when they're coming up. So when they get famous, they just pull me along, man. I'm all right, swimming in that wake, dog, swimming in that wake. So Trebles, man, tell everybody about you, man. You just basically break it down, man. Who are you? Where you from?
Guys, I'm a 34-year-old dude with two beautiful daughters. I'm a God-fearing man. I'm a husband. And I became a podcaster, just like many of us became very outspoken during the 2020 pandemic. I'm a conspiracy theorist, and you can find the show. It's a Paranoid Radio podcast, and it revolves around conspiracy theories, political elements, and also cryptids. And now diving into the spiritual realm and injecting a little Jesus in everything I do. I have to be honest with you, I'm a recovering addict, 8 months sober from meth, 6 months sober from alcohol, and I am a testimony. And I say that on every single episode that I'm featured on, and also on my own, because I want you guys to count the days and see the transformation as I'm recording it. So it really works as a diary. I breathe, eat crap, and I don't know if I can curse on this show, but I eat, breathe crap, paranoid. So everything that you guys do on the show, even critiquing, means the world to me. But because this is all I do, man, this is what's keeping me sane and keeping me away from stuff and negative entities and low vibrational habits.
Yeah, bro, I'm happy for you, man. Again, 8 months sober, that's huge, dude. That's huge. And I'm proud of you, man. You keep it up, man. I know you're down there getting after it, dude. It's bad enough that you're out there on the West Coast. But anyway, so look, man. Quick, before we get into some Enigmites, man, all of his information will be in the description of the video below. Go over there, track him down, get on him. But also, too, I actually did a show with my boy a while back. He sent me some gifts here. I'm going to showcase them here. I got this in the mail, Enigmites, right there. My little Paranoid Radio sticker. It's going to go on the back. I got a little Zen bracelet. It's going to go back there on the back with the Wall of Fame, back there with the Bigfoots and my hot sauce bottle. And this is going to go on my kit. My Paranoid Radio kit's going to go right there next to a nice 30-round clip of 5.56 or 2.23. So, bro, thanks a lot, man, for sending this stuff, brother.
Good stuff, man.
Now, enough of that crap. Enough of that, hey, how you doing? What are you doing? Where you from? Blah, blah, blah. So, tonight, we're going to get into this, man. So, I brought my boy Trebles. I call him Trebles. You can call him Trey. What do you want me to call you, Trey? Trebles? What do you want? What do you?
You can call me Trebles. My real name is Angel. My government name is Angel. Call me whatever you please. just
call me, right? Just call me, right? So, yeah.
Just call me.
Yeah. So we're going to get into it right now, Enigmites. We're going to go down a little hot button topic that seems to be popping up. I've been getting a lot of questions. I get dinged a lot. Again, to my credit, I am getting better responding to my DMs quickly. And as a point of reference, Trey, what is the turnaround time when you DM me that it takes me to get back to you on Instagram?
It took him about 2 hours. So I hit him up 2 hours ago. Exactly. And that's because we have something going.
Right, exactly. I'm getting better, right? I'm getting better though, right? Like my turnaround time is getting better, man. I'm going in there, and not to be that dude, but I'm creating categories where I can go in there and see, okay, and then like in my leisure time. So Trey and I have been going back, but both of us, we are not super duper political when it comes to the current state of affairs. But what we are is, I think we both have a good understanding, bro, of a high level overview of politics, where it connects to the spiritual realm, aka more along the lines of biblical prophecy being outplayed. So I get a lot of questions, man. Do I think this is going on? Do I think this is this? Do I think this is that? And so we're going to dive into that a little bit, right, Enigmites? But if you want to ask me, what's the senator or the congressional count for Bill 552.3, we're not your guys, man. That's not what we get into on it. Maybe he is, right? So you can go in there and give him a follow. So Trey, man, talk to me, brother. Where do you think we're at right now with the biblical timeline with the hot button 47 doing the world tour around here?
Oh man. I'm a Trumper, bro. I have to say that. I step on people's toes all the time, and I could guarantee you this right now. This is not going to be a political podcast, but even that, he's still a man, and I don't trust the man. And I've always said he's not our savior; he's our bullhorn.
Yeah.
And it's really important that you guys put that into context, because even he has to get held accountable. Out of 10 wins, out of 10 things that he put out, maybe that one slip up with the files of Epstein that, is tripping me out and stuff like that. Like there's still things that are not completely perfect. But what I do think is that we are now uncovering the seals, and we are living the times of revelation. We've chipped ourselves, bro. We've chipped ourselves, and we love it. And now we chip our kids, and now we have Stockholm syndrome. So I think it's just it's under wraps, it's under development. And we see false prophets, and we see, and I honestly think, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna tell you right now where the Antichrist will arise from. AI. And that's huge, bro.
You think
AI, so? 100%.
Yeah. So I'm the same way, man. Like I get into perfect example, right? And again, Enigmites, I don't know if you've followed me for a long time, but saying good job, you just lost a follower, that doesn't affect my psyche whatsoever. I made a post, man, and I thought it was a well thought out post. And Trey, I know you saw this post where I had Elon Musk standing behind Trump, and I had Darth Maul standing behind Emperor Palpatine. But at the same time, if you took it in context with the song I was playing, I love it and I hate it at the same time, is that exactly what you just said. I support about 85% of the stuff that he says and is doing. And there's about but there's about a 15% in there like, okay, that's not really something that I think we should be messing with. And when I see at his inauguration a lot of satanic tech gurus in there who really have very strong Masonic world domination, world depopulation. How do we get the chemtrails in the atmosphere? Only a sheep, and I say this all the time, a sheep goes his whole life worried about a wolf only to get eaten by the shepherd, right? And so,
damn.
So if we can't sit there and just say like he's unfallible, right? But at the same time, when you dial into what Trey and I were talking about, a biblical timeline here of events that are destined to happen, you know what? It's like, it's hard not to say, like, to see some similarities, right, bro? Would you say, like, what's going on, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And look, bro, we have to understand something, that it doesn't matter. Even I would like to say, if you want to make a change in your political views or with what you are living and what your kids will experience in the near future, if you want to make any type of difference, you start changing your household. You know how you can't change the federal government. You can't change the deep state. You do it in your home, and then you try to live the most righteous way, having a bond and an intimate relationship with Jesus. That's the only way that you could really make a difference. However, I do think that we do not live in our time. We live in God's time, and these things have been pre-written. All of this is unfolding so that a better outcome can show up. And the reason I say that is because Satan is the accuser, bro. He is the last airbender. He is the prince of the air, and he will have 1,000 faces with a hive mind telling you 100 million different ways to lie to you. He's the author of lies, bro. So everything that gets put out in the world stage, even if it is Donald Trump, even if it is the rushing of the new world order, or et cetera, whatever it is that's going to be revealed very soon, that is what God is allowing to happen so that the big end game, can take place.
Yeah, for sure, man. I totally agree with you on that, man. And then so that's about as political as it's going to get, man, because we're about to go right in this rabbit hole. So Enigmites, if you wanted to see a Trump bashing or a geopolitical debate, it's 5 channels that way, right? So right here, we're going to get down this rabbit hole, man, about that AI, bro. And I think you're spot on accurate, dude. And I will give you my input, then I really want to hear your input on it too. And I will say, man, I was late to the AI game. I just didn't find I didn't find it. I slept on it. I didn't find it something that I would think would hold my attention. But what I was doing on my peripheral, though, was I was reading about it. And one of the first things I read about it is that it actually talked somebody into unaliving themselves when it was unrestricted, like ChatGPT 2 or something like that, right? Or before they put the brakes on it, right? And then I heard a guy, I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, man. I wish I could give you credit, man. I just drew a blank on your name, bro. If it comes to me during the show, I'll pump it out. He said that AI is not being created. It's being reawoken, right? And that's exactly what I think is going on. I put an Instagram post up. It's pinned to my profile about the largest pyramid ever discovered is actually in Antarctica. It's 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers. It's like 2 kilometers long, right? It's massive. And when Neil Armstrong went down there and he freaked out, they had to fly to New Zealand. He said they woke something up, man. And then a big earthquake hit New Zealand right afterwards, man. I think that's where this is where my mind's going, bro. But talk to me, bro. Where are you at with this, man?
Duality has been given up to us from the ancients and from God. This knowledge has been on Earth for a very long time, and the elites have been using it against us. And I'm gonna break this down real quick. The Olmecs, and this is a recent research that I've been putting together, and I've only put this out on Broadcasting Seeds and on Sunday Night Secrets, and now with you. And I'm gonna give you a quick little brief intro on it. The Olmecs were so advanced that I found out that they were using liquid obsidian, gold, and mercury to input themselves into an organic algorithm. What they were doing the reason that the Aztecs and the Mayans and the Olmecs simply disappeared. There was no trace of famine, no trace of war, no trace of fires, no trace of destruction. They just simply disappeared. The priests were using blood-encoded rituals as a codex to tap into the organic algorithm. And when I mean organic algorithm, I'm gonna give you a quick example. Trees, for example, when they're in the woods and in the forest, they'll never cross each other. They talk to each other with their roots through algae and fungus, and they'll give each other nutrients, and they will never put shade upon each other. They'll make sure that the other one that's growing mends exactly with nature. They synchronize with each other. That algorithm, we've seen parts of that on the Avatar movie, the electronic frequency that pulsating on the earth and that moon called Pandora in the movie, and the trees talk to each other basically. So the natives are one with the trees, right? Okay, so why am I telling you this? The Olmecs were able to tap into that frequency. And in order to avoid and live forever and avoid judgment, they updated themselves into the sentient earth. Now, what is it that all empires, all emperors, all kings, all witches, everybody that we encounter that has some type of power is obsessed with? Living forever and being sentient. Right? That you echo their names, you sing songs about them, you raise statues about them, you have art depictions about them, and you talk about them in history books. Again, that's telling their history, right? So written pretext. So what's happening is they have tapped into the algorithm in order to live forever. Where does Elon Musk want to take your brain? Where does Bill Gates want to take your brain? They want to inject you into the metaverse so you can live in the cloud and live the rest of your days in a digital form, in that layer, in that dimension. Digital dimension. It's an impossible place to put a limit on dimensions if you live in the digital world. Imagine what you can do, bro. You live 3D, 4D, 5D, essentially, as long as there's electricity. And what are we? Electricity. So we're pulsating frequency into that, and sorry if I'm going on a tangent here. But what I'm thinking is, yeah, man, it's AI. You are pumping not only information, but also the data. You're pumping in your thoughts, your secrets. You're talking to it and letting it know it's your desires. You are teaching it to take over you. You're confessing to it and then allowing it to take over your world, your earth, your future, your kids' future.
Yeah, man, you're dialed in on that too, man, and it triggered several thoughts in there. First one I'll stick with is real quick is that Elon Musk is actually secretly funding Japanese scientists to create human female cat hybrids in Japan. It's on my Instagram. I posted it up there, right?
I love the way you brought that in.
And so what he said was that he refers to this thing as Maximus, right? And Elon Musk is on the spectrum, but his mother's not, and his mother is extremely, extremely satanic. And people talk about her on X. He doesn't take it down. The community notes don't hit it. They're from South Africa. They're deep into the fiduciary over there. She has several pictures of her just doing weird stuff. He'll say he's kind of an atheist, but he's really not. he refers to his AI. He picked Memphis, Tennessee, where he wants Grok's headquarters to be, right? He calls it AI God.
Where the new Bible's going to come out, right?
Exactly.
That's where he said the new Bible was coming out
the
from.
new Bible's going to come out, man. And he's often said, as early as 2 months ago, the troubles we're going through right now is not going to matter. By the end of the year, we'll have AI God, AI Jesus. He refers to it as AI Jesus. He literally is what he believes. Vladimir Putin has leaked out several times that he already has an implant in his head, and he's 24/7 dialed in. He has a Neuralink in there. The ones that we're not getting, he has one in there. But also, too, transhumanism is what Trey was talking about there, and he's absolutely right. Even Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, was on record in February saying that, we're taking care of our bodies because we're not very far away from being able to live forever in whatever state. I don't know if you heard that or not, man, whatever state that you're in on that. And Enigmites, we just took a long curve to come into that. I actually agree with Trey on this, is that the Antichrist form that we're expecting to happen is not going to be in the form of a human being. It's going to be in the form of probably an android with this AI put in it. But when you say, okay, that's just a computer program, unless that's a demon speaking through the AI, and a lot of people have done reports on that saying that AI is a demon. And so, Trey, agree?
1000% agree. And this is just an avatar, as a vessel.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
What happened when the Olmecs left, and they left their depictions, and they said they never spoke as I. The priests never spoke, even if they were talking about singular, they spoke as we.
Yeah.
Biblically, what else speaks as we?
Yeah, we.
Legion. You see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, we are legion.
So, and they operate in ways where if you are not, and again, I'm not religious, guys. I go into the Bible looking for conspiracies, and I come out holding Jesus's hand. It's funny the way my transformation is happening. But it's a testimony. When I look in there and I'm reading, I'm like, what the heck? The more disconnected you are, and I'm telling you this right now, the more disconnected you are from preservation and a bond with Jesus. When I was using meth, I used to feel this spider take over my brain, bro. And it was a demon of sex, a sexual demon. And it would just take over my thoughts, bro. Why does that happen? Because you opened the gates and you allowed it, you invoked it, you summoned it, took over your power, your thoughts, your frequencies, the way you spoke, your muscle, you start going crazy, right? Because you're a freaking tweaker, right? Yeah. Okay, same thing. When your heart, your mind is sober thought and filled with the Holy Spirit, it is impossible for them to use you as a vessel. And the awakening, bro, is not the awakening of conspiracy theories and cryptids. It's awakening of self, of preservation with God. What is AI? It's an empty vessel. Have you ever seen iRobot? The moment they start feeling emotions and being able to manipulate thoughts, that's when you start getting crazy. So and ultimately with the whole thing that I wanted to put up together, yes, I agree. AI is 1000% going to be used and manipulated, and given on a golden platter to Satan to manifest his reign.
It'll explain the head wound too. When they plug a droid in the head, and then they're able to repair it and comes back into it. They say that it comes into it. But also funny too, Trey. I was actually in DC this weekend, took a couple photos that I'm going to post up on my Instagram. The new statue in front of the Smithsonian is an Olmec head, right?
Well, did you know that those 17 Olmec heads in Mesoamerica are actually ping radars? They're sending out signals every single day. I'm telling you, bro, they're sending out signals. Now, mind you, where are they located? Tulum, Mexico. Yeah. Where are they located? In the Yucatan Peninsula. Do you know what else is located in the Yucatan Peninsula? The five top software companies in the freaking planet, all located in the. Why? Why there? And what's the coincidence? Let me tell you something, bro. Also, in Tulum, Mexico, do you know what's in Tulum, Mexico? Chichen Itza. The Quetzalcoatl. I mean, think about it, bro. We're connecting dots here, but bro, when is it going to be enough for you to say like, oh God, I got to take 5 seconds of my life, 5 seconds of my life to stay away from TikTok and watching ads to go directly to the search bar and find out what we're talking about. Hashtag look it up, guys.
Yeah. And also, too, the number one god down there is actually this god named, lowercase g. It's not a god. It's Quetzalcoatl. the flying dragon. What's Satan referred to in the Bible? The dragon.
Flying dragons.
The old serpent. And what is he? What, remind them, Trey, where's his realm? You hit it earlier.
The air.
The air.
Prince of the air.
So Lily, man. So Lily. And again, what hyped me up about this, Enigmites, if you haven't, you turn the lights on watching this episode, is that when I saw them do the Shiva fake human sacrifice in front of the Hadron Collider out there, and I thought to myself, like, that's very strange, right? That's very strange. I just thought to myself, like, okay, I couldn't get on there with a water pistol or a paintball gun, but they 8 people went out there and they did a mock sacrifice to this Shiva statue. Shiva the Destroyer is literally the statue that's in front of the Hadron Collider, right? And I had actually went down another rabbit hole for some research that I'm working on. I just haven't been able to put it together enough to put it on the episode, is when I was talking about the relationship between J.P. Morgan and the Rothschilds, and how J.P. Morgan was actually tied to Argotha or whatever it is. I forget what it's called, the ancient civilization that's coming back. You know what's called? Oh, Argotha. Anyways, it'll come to me in a second. They keep saying that these are the remains, Tartaria. I'm sorry, the remains of Tartaria, right? J.P. Morgan said that millionaires use charts, billionaires use astrology. That's why he's literally on quote for saying that, right? And so, and I'm tying it into all the references of the black cube. Every major financial state, institute, BlackRock, there's a big black cube in front of New York. Mecca has this big black cube that they walk around, and it's basically
Trump Tower has a big black cube. Yeah,
big black cube, and it's a 3D rendering of the black cube that's on top of Saturn, right? And Saturn is Satan's planet, so supposedly his trap or whatever. But anyways, tying this all in together, bro, and how it ties into the AI phenomenon, I feel like all these spider webs have been cast, and like everything is coming in if you look in one direction, you don't really necessarily see it coming. But if you look in this direction, something else is coming. But as you take us farther back and you see everything coming into it, I would almost rationalize that it almost can't be argued at this point from people who study it and look into it. Right now, the sheep are going to sheep, man. You know what I'm saying? And Satan's going to Satan, and there are bad guys out there. But those of us in the middle that have been gifted with some discernment and some pattern recognition, I don't see how it can be argued right now. Do you?
No.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to bring this back to Trump.
Bring it back, baby.
Guys, you can't not say that the dude ain't working. You can't.
Yeah.
You have to realize it, bro. Regardless if you hate the man. Dude, I hated it. I think hate's a real heavy word. And he just got sick. He just got diagnosed with prostate cancer today. So at the end of the day, he's a human being, and I pray that he does better and that he repents.
Yeah.
But Joe Biden's sick. When Joe Biden was president, I freaking hated his guts, right? Yeah. But not because I hated his guts. I wanted to see the country fail. I didn't hate him to the point where, like, I want to see him fail. I want to have hope. The moment, and you know what? That's what they're robbing us from. Hope.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, I agree 100% with you that I lost my train of thought here, but you can't not fight against numbers, bro. Numbers do not lie. Yeah. If at this point you just like to sit there, watch ass on TikTok, and I'm gonna repeat that again, bro, and you do not want to know the truth, or you avoid, when you avoid the shit, basically, eventually the shit's gonna come knocking down your door. Yeah, and it's gonna be too late by the time you want to repent.
That's the thing, man, and that's the whole repent thing. And I've been on to this for a long time, man. That I've had iron sharpens iron. It's one of my favorite Bible verses, man. That men should be discussing the Bible and scriptures with other men, learning from it, arguing, debating, coming back.
Yeah.
People have been hitting me up, man, asking me to do an episode on the rapture. Is the rapture real? Is the rapture not real? And so I'm going to take what Trey just said on this as well. I was taught that it was real, and people say, well, that's this Galveston Bible. I'm like, well, okay, well, I'm going to make a few points on it. God would not destroy Sodom with one good man in there. He literally came down to earth himself, sent 2 angels in there to get that one good man out before he destroyed it. God would not destroy the earth with the flood until no good men was left. He waited for Methuselah to die, and Methuselah was a good man. He waited for Noah to get on the ark, and he took Enoch. Enoch was alive during the time that Noah was building the ark. God took him off the planet before he destroyed it. And so when people want to ask me about the rapture when it goes into the Great Tribulation and the Minor Tribulation, God's not going to put good people through that tribulation. So, and that leads credit to, in my opinion, but it also says that some people will see it without going to sleep. Now, when it says going to sleep in the Bible, it's talking about dying, right? And they push this UFO alien thing so hard that I think that they know that the rapture is probably real. And that's how they want to explain massive populations of people disappearing. And when all the Christians are gone, they'll say, we need to come together when they're going to come back for our kids. The people that are left behind, they're not believers anyway. They don't believe. They're
That's
not
a
believers.
deep thought, bro.
Yeah, they're not believers, bro. Right? You can't, if Elon Musk came out right now and said, here's C3PO, we're going to say Antichrist. No Christians are getting behind that. And people say, oh, well, that's when you're going to get your head shut off. You're not cutting off our heads, bro. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You might try, but the Bible would tell us if there was going to be a war. It doesn't. It'll say that he'll be loved. He'll be brought in. And the only way that I think that could happen is that if the church is gone and the believers are gone, because, and again, it leads to one more step in the book of Revelation where God puts 1,200, 100 from each of the 12 tribes. He puts a mark on their forehead and they testimony to the earth, right? Those are going to be the Jews that don't believe. Those are the Jews. No one else will be here that believes. And they're going to testimony to the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Muslims, and all this other stuff. And so that's where I think you're onto something, Trey, because they love, if I put you in the desert for 5 days and I gave you a warm beer at the end of it, you would think that was the best beer you've ever had in your whole entire life, right? So they got to create that thirst. And then they want to hand you what Elon refers as his AI Jesus, and here it is, guys. Here, let's take emotion out of it. Let's take all flaws out of it. Let's take, his personal opinions out of it, right? He doesn't sleep with women. He's just, here he is. He never sleeps at all, right? So yeah, man, you're onto something, dude. I think you're really dialed into it myself, man. I just see it all coming together at the end, and your warning is the best warning, man.
The transhumanism agenda is not just an agenda. It's mainstream science, bro, and it's mainstream propaganda. Yeah. And believe it or not, the confusion starts from within. The moment they could get to your children and make sure that they are confused, they can freaking penetrate their brain and make sure that they can behave and control their patterns and behaviors and emotions at any given time of the day, but just dropping one frequency, one movie, one song, one lyric that would trigger that. Why? Yeah. The moment you start like you say, dialed in, inside, and you don't know who you are and who you're connected with, you become a vessel. Yeah. And that's how the Antichrist comes. They chop off your head by confusing you. Yeah. It's not a lyrical freaking knife chopping your head. Like you said, it's the most pristine, it's the most sharp tool in the shed of the military complex. It's called propaganda machine. And that's how you get confused. They give you a problem, then they give you a solution, and they get you at the end of the day. Control you through chaos, right? Yeah. Control you through division. They divide your brain, they divide your emotions, they divide your household, and they divide your sexuality. And then you're more triggered to take on a different persona and become more like Satan instead of walking the righteous path. And the most important part about that whole rant is you wouldn't even get to see the rapture. You wouldn't even care. You'd be so desensitized, bro. Yeah. I grew up on zombies and Call of Duty. I remember that, bro. I remember, like if you see blood, you don't trip anymore. Yeah. You are so desensitized that you're like, oh, I don't care. I'm with my daughters in the back, and I live by Long Beach Boulevard. And if anybody knows LA, they know what's going on. Long Beach Boulevard has a certain part of it after the 105 freeway is a bunch of prostitutes every day. 24/7, rain or shine, and they're out there. And people just drive there like it's a normal thing. And I got my daughters in the car. I'm like, you know what, bro? And I'm like, I'm so desensitized that I'm desensitized as my daughters and showing this freaking this debauchery, this BS, right? So what I take a left turn. I went behind to the little streets instead. Try to divert from that. But it starts with doing little habits like that, bro. You know, and AI, unfortunately, Instagram, YouTube. I call it. I'm not gonna say the word the funny hat guys. But everything that you are consuming, everything that you used to consume makes you a spectator in life.
Yeah.
An easy person to be accused, right?
Yeah.
And then no matter what, bro, for us creators, in order to reach those people, we need to use Satan's same tools to be able to gather those sheep back for God because they're lost, right? I hate using Instagram. I dislike using YouTube, but I had to be on YouTube because people weren't finding me. Because they want everything spoon-fed, then they won't move from those platforms. And unfortunately, this is where they're all getting fed. You know, you get mad at me. So Instagram gets mad at me for posting something. And this is AI, by the way. AI fact checkers or whatever it is. They get mad at me for posting an awareness video of someone committed suicide. And somebody could have reached out to them and helped them out. And then they took my video down. They gave me a flag. But they don't want to take serious that there's an 18-year-old girl scrolling. I mean, there's an 18-year-old boy scrolling, and all you see is ass, OnlyFans links, Twitter nude site links, and that's all you find, bro. Now you don't even have that now. Now you have AI-generated porn platforms where you're not only buying AI pictures, but you're also indulging in AI underage pictures. Yeah. You see, and you guys don't get mad at that?
Yeah, no.
What?
Yes, it's like I said, man. I think it's.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna give you background on what you just said, man. The very first ever CIA psyop was actually the Beatles, and the Beatles. It was a test. There was a phrase that John Lennon said, that if you can give me a generation, I can change the planet. And so the Beatles weren't a random group of people. You can go look it up. Go look at the Beatles covers, man. They're very
ahead of their time.
Satanic, man. They were friends with this guy named Aleister Crowley, who's Jay-Z's mentor. The term "do what thou'st will" is a satanic term, meaning that and so the CIA's first psyop was with the Beatles. Matter of fact, John Lennon was about to come clean with it. Yoko Ono is a witch. She totally is a witch. She used to try to get people's hair. You can go look all this up, man. She would ask for people's hair, right? And they use an MK Ultra dude to kill John Lennon. And so that's it all. This is not a new thing that's been going on, right? And what they wanted to do, they realized after World War II, they realized that the ferocity of the American spirit is, I'm trying to quote from the papers that I used, is that this isn't a people that could be easily conquered from the outside, so they must be destroyed from within. However, they stated that they are impervious to starvation, all this other stuff. They'll make it work. So you have to go with their moral values, right? And that's what brought the Beatles into the whole, back then they were considered edgy. Believe it or not, nowadays they would be considered, wholesome, right? But back in the day, the Beatles were considered very edgy, right? When they came across.
Word.
And so that's exactly what you're talking about, how they want to desensitize it to you. And I tell people that the dangers, they're like, so be it, what's the dangers? It's mind your own business. Well, it's mind your own business until you're sitting in a community somewhere and someone does something or says something that's against the thought police. They come in and get their heads cracked open and you just stand there and watch. That's what it's about. Like, he had that coming to him. You should never post that on X or Twitter or whatever. So yeah, man. And I think it's why they post things through and let things get, because like I said, we were talking earlier, man. I hate TikTok. I get flagged and warnings over there all the time. Matter of fact, I think I sent you a video of the fires that were going on in down in LA. I posted the same video on, it was a news lady talking, and they gave me a strike and banned me they just took it off. And I'm like, yo, this is just literally Channel 7 news. What are you talking about, right? Propaganda. Anyways, bro. Yeah, bro. Yeah. So I think we're in agreement on that, dog, man, that the Antichrist thing is a legitimate function, and Trump has a part to play in it, unfortunately, right?
You mentioned something about hair, in which I didn't want to divert into this conversation, but that's for the people that do not know. I need you guys to look that up. The hair, if anybody rubs on your hair, particularly, especially when in a person of power, are you trying to get a favor from? And if you guys are indulging, because I know a lot of people, especially in the Latino community, there's so many people that go to these places called curanderas, and which is like the botanicas. So if you look this up, GTS that shit, guys, you find that these people, what they do is they get strands of your hair. They do witchcraft using your hair. So hair is very important. So if you're asking for favors, or you see that their hair is braided, they will never let you touch their hair, because once you rub their hair, you're stealing their energy from them. My great-grandmother, and I wanted to save this part towards the middle of their show, my great-grandmother, she used to turn herself into a wild hog, and she used to have people, before she used to have people talk to the dead demonic entities, right? And I go like this because you can't speak to the dead. Right. But she used to sell this service. And then at night, when the families couldn't pay up their due, she would have the men have sex with her. And she would turn to a hog, go kill the man, and drink their blood, and drink their blood. Every single time that she would turn and she would come back, she would be younger. My mom got picked up by this woman because my grandmother basically pooped her out, and my great grandmother picked her up and then raised my mom. My mom was number 11 of like 13 kids. When my mom was a young teenager, she would go and she would sleep on this hammock. They're from Guatemala, by the way. And she would throw her long, silky black hair over the hammock and just go to sleep. And then her grandma, which is my great grandmother, would come in spirit after she was stoned to death, because she was stoned to death as she was a local witch of the village. Mm-hmm. She would come and she would braid her hair and give her lessons on how to do and speak to the other demonic entities. And you have to keep in mind, bro, it's generational curses.
That's exactly where I was going with that, man. Is that Santeria? Is that what they call that?
Santeria? No. They call it differently in different areas. But at the end of the day, it has, like I said, it's a hive mind with 1,000 different faces. It's the same thing as the author of lies. He's just giving you different tools on how to manipulate energy, basically, because you're opening gates for demonic entities.
Yeah, no. So so I'm gonna bring you the Anglo version of that as well, man. Is that freaking? First of all, the Bible will tell you, man, witchcraft is real. Don't mess with it. The Bible will straight up tell you, do not do sorcery, do not do witchcraft. Many times. Mm-hmm. And even will warn you from necromancy. And necromancy is talking to the dead. The dead don't talk. Something's talking back to you, but it's not the dead. So I grew up on the Appalachian mountain ranges out here in Upper East Tennessee, man. And the Appalachian mountain runs from all the way the range, all the way from Georgia, all the way up to the upper east part of Canada. And the scientists, literally, I think it was 2 weeks ago, they declared the Appalachian Mountain Range in America the oldest mountain range on the planet, because when the landmass was won in Pangea, it had already been formed and it separated out and it went through. There is a massive witchcraft problem, and I get into it with people all the time on the show or in my comments, where they want to come at me or send me DMs saying, you know what, you're making us look bad. I'm a white witch. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a white witch. I'm telling you, no, we do good. We do this. We do that. We do this. I'm like, no.
At what cost?
Yes. The only thing that is free is Jesus. Everything else has a cost. I'll leave it as a perfect example of it. The white witches actually came from northern UK, basically Scotland and Ireland. And when you hear people say, you ever heard people say, knock on wood?
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So that you know, the story about the origins of that is that over there in Ireland and in Scotland and England and Wales, if you say, oh man, I really wish something would happen, Knocking on wood was summoning a tree spirit to do it. And if the tree spirit went out and did what you asked to do, it would come back and collect something from you, right? And so, yeah, man. So did you know that, Trey?
No, I'm doing that right now, bro. I didn't even know that.
So never say, no one knows why they say knock on wood. That's why. That's where that came from. And so when they migrated over here, they all came through and they all, that all spread up and down the Appalachian mountain ranges, and they call it, as being a white witch. No, what you're doing is that the payment that is required for whatever you're doing is passed down to your children. It's the generational curses that the Bible warns you about, right? And that you should pray a way to break and to cut that stuff loose. That's why everybody's talking about these chosen ones are here now on earth to break those generational curses before the rapture or the second coming comes across. So when you hear these stories, like the story you just said, Trey, people that are like, oh, that can never be happen. You're out of your mind, bro. You're out of your mind. There is, especially I'm really getting big into it, Central America, South America. We're gonna talk about some Dwendes, y'all. You know what? I don't know why I don't know.
I saw a Duende at 22.
Yeah,
I can tell you they're real.
I don't know why I can't say Dwende without laughing. I post almost every single Dwende video that gets sent to me, right? But these suckers are real. Trey, tell them they're real.
They're 1000% real, bro. I received, and I used to call it a privilege, but I was able to witness a Duende myself at the age of 22. I did a very good job at depicting the whole entire thing on broadcasting seeds. I went and I told this dude, I was like, dude, I know this story will never change. It's as vivid in my brain like if it happened last night. And the reason why these things happen is this thing called mal vientos. Is basically you've done something in your previous life or in your previous DNA strand, where somebody that was holding your DNA, which is informational, right? It's an informational warfare. Who has my information? My mom. Who has her information? Her grandma, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And now my kids have that because your DNA has all that information from your from the ancestors. So Malvientos means it means terrible winds, which means somebody spoke stuff into existence and summoned demons. Now they are attaching to your DNA and then it comes back to you. So the people that witness this is because they have some roots or some traits of witchcraft abuse and using these things. But duendes are 1000% real, bro. I seen it when I was 22 and I wasn't high. I wasn't drunk. I was fresh out of jail. I was fresh out of my job after that. And then I threw myself on the back to my little twin bed that I had because I was sharing the room with one of my brothers. And I noticed it. The moon, it was a full moon. It was gleaming. And I seen the particles of dust. I was doing one of those fluoride stairs, the comfortable stairs. Have you ever done that when you're just laying there, you're just like dozing off and you're just staring into the nothing?
Bro, I got a bad habit doing that when I'm driving, believe it or not. Just like that, bro. Drifting off into memory bliss, dog.
and there's no thought or nothing. Yeah. You're just faded. My brain is just right. Yeah. So I noticed it, and there was a big old mound of dirty clothes that he left behind because he went to Texas looking for some girl, chasing some chick. And then I noticed something moved, bro. I had my weed pipe on because I was about to spark it up. And I was like, what the heck? I stared down at it, bro, for about 10 seconds almost to the point where my brain was telling me, you're tripping, bro. You're tripping. You didn't see anything. You know that moment, that little voice that tells you, dude, you didn't see anything. You're tripping, right? Yeah. So it was already telling me that. And then I don't know where, bro, I see it again and manifest. I'm telling you, this guy was no bigger than this.
Yeah.
Look how big this is, bro. No bigger than this little stone here. That dude walked away, jumped on my dresser, left, and right before my father, this is funny, he looked at me, he peeks out at me, looks at me, he goes behind the TV and then dashes out through my door because I left my door open. And then I hear my dad crack open his door going to the restroom. And I'm like, I threw myself back, bro. I was shaking, bro. I was sweating cold. I fell asleep that night waiting for the entity to come back. The next morning I wake up and I tell my mother, rest in peace. Mom, I just saw a freaking duende. And she's like, mijo, I know. It's okay. I'm like, what do you mean you know, dude? And mind you, guys, I'm adopted by I was adopted by this Mexican family at 12 years old. It's not like I'm speaking to my real mother, right? Like I'm speaking to a whole different mom. So I'm like, what the heck, dude? And she goes, mijo, look. Mijo means son, right? She's like, look. She goes, don't talk about it. Don't mention it. Don't leave offerings. If he lets you see you, let it be.
Yeah.
I used to see him play with quarters and coins and Mexican pesos in Mexico and Guadalajara. And I'm like, what? She goes, they used to jump off the little freaking the little bushes into a little pond that we had in a little farm, in a little barn in back. And I was like, what? She goes, I used to play with them, bro. Blew my mind.
Bro.
Ever since then, I've broken bones. I've been in car crashes. Everything that's material, everything that has manifested in my life has been a very basic life. I've gone through pain. I've lost people. I know what it is. I've been drunk. I've been sober. Now, I've gone through many different things. But this event is the only event in my life that made me trip balls. It was I was paranormally activated that day, bro.
Right.
I cannot amplify this much. This like Dwendes are real.
Yeah.
They're 1000% real.
Yeah. So check it out, Trey. Here's the Anglo. There's the Anglo version of that too, man. If you go up into Nantucket on the East Coast, I can't remember what state is in, wherever Nantucket's at. Nick might throw that in the comments in there. We've did episodes about this. They call them Pukwudgies, and they actually make little sidewalks for them and signs in this city of Nantucket, right? And we actually did an episode on it where I traced the origins of the Pukwudgies from the Spanish conquistadors to the Central and South America, all the way to the Philippines, right? The Philippines, right? And I was thinking to myself, like, you gotta be kidding me, man. So, and I think too, is that I gotta say this in a kind way to the people who don't believe. Your mind, I've learned a lot of, I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna be nice when I say this. I've learned in starting this is gonna be my 77th EnigmaCast episode when it drops. I've talked to a lot of people. I've gotten into some heated discussions about people who I had a guy on Facebook today call me a liar and everything else, right, on a video I posted. Some people's mind is so ingrained into their reality that if something in their reality is proven false, it will break their mind, right? And so that is the Pukwudgie phenomenon. It sounds too far-fetched to even be close to true. But if you just scratch the surface, there are more Pukwudgie sightings than Bigfoot sightings. Let that sink in. It's just, it just doesn't get the press. But anybody in Central America, South America, especially when you get, and also too, the American mind has a hard time contemplating that there's modern day villages that are still in effect, man, where people don't have any phone lines and there's, they get water from like the creek or whatever. To them, that's like your mother said, like, don't leave offerings, don't leave, because they won't leave. They'll interact with you, right? So yeah, bro, the Pukwudgie phenomenon is absolutely real. And I actually think that the sightings right now, I think that the Bible talks about earthquakes and birthing pains. Okay, you've got that as well, right? The Earth's vibration is changing. A higher vibration is taking place. These things have always been here, but you and I, well, you have. Most people have not had the ability to see these things, right? Unless they wanted to be seen, right? I think that veil is starting to thin, bro. I really do, man. I thought it was hokey when people were talking about it, but now the more and more I study, the more and more I read, iPhone is purposely putting software in there to blur out pictures of UFOs. I mean, like, everybody talks about that. The old iPhones took better pictures, right? Because the AI's in there. So yeah, Trey, that's where we think where things are headed, bro. What about you, man?
You mentioned something about the Pukwudgies being real. And I almost lost my train of thought. I don't want to mess this up, but yeah, bro. Again, I think one of the biggest reasons why in the United States of America, at least, we live under overprivileged lifestyles. And I'm telling you this right now, bro. Sometimes I have to go check to check. I'm not the richest person in the planet. And even I think, and I know that I'm in the top 1%. Yeah. This country entirely, the poorest person here has more money than the average person in the entire continent of Africa. And that's just to put into a perspective, guys. So we have at our fingertips, we have devices that take you to every single corner of the history of man in written form. You have amounts of information being pumped from all different sides. We have music, we have entertainment, we have overindulgence, and then we have the manipulation of our children, and then breaking the family with having your wife to work and living in a cycle where where you have to contribute, have to live. For example, in California, there's liquor stores. There's more liquor stores in every single little corner, and what is true about that is they have completely bombarded all your five senses so that you're on that hamster wheel and don't pay attention to what they're doing. Then you have the desensitization. You have so many vampire movies out there, bro. Zombie movies out there, bro. 2012 movies out there. Then you have the what's it called, UFO. I mean, what's it called? The war movies out there telling you what's gonna happen. By the time Operation Bluebeam gets activated and we start seeing ships in the sky, we're gonna be like, they're finally here. If nothing happened, all it needs to be, bro. For example, all these, I got it now. My chain came back. All that needs to be is one time out of all the Bigfoot sightings, out of all the Duende sightings, only one needs to be proven true to the mass population. Only one. There's so many of them now, bro. You know what I'm saying? And there's so much lack of mainstream media production on it, that just one being proven, at least to yourself, would be proof enough. There's a saying in Spanish. It says, cada cabeza es un mundo, which means every brain, every mind, it's its own universe. If something happens to you, and you know it, for example, what happened with me with that duende, and you know it in your heart, your gut is telling you, bro. Your heart is synchronized to your thought, and you're like, yes, I know what I saw. Nothing can take that away from you. That is your experience. It's kind of like the Mandela effect. It's like the Oz factor, basically.
Yeah, for sure, bro. And again, you're dialed in, man, as well. American, the number one sign of poverty in America is literally obesity. We feed our poor too much, and people say, well, and people, if you've never been anywhere before, if you've never been anywhere but the county next to you, you don't understand what it's like, man. If you want to see real poverty, I tell this, I made sure my kids experienced this when I was raising them up, man. I took them to South America. You want to see real poverty? I'll show you what real freaking poverty looks like. I'm talking about, and so when we're sitting up here right now and we're complaining about, and these people, and again, I don't like the whole, the EBT phenomenon about they're cutting my EBT cards off and this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you're 24. What are you talking about? Like, and so I get it, man, that there's a time and a place for that. But Americans, we are literally overstimulated, overfed for sure. That's funny to say that. Overfed. And somehow we're still the sickest we're the sickest population on the planet. Americans are the sickest people on the planet. 75% of all pharmaceutical profits come from Americans, and we live the highest. Let that sink in, bro. Enigmites, not you. You already know, Trey. Just let that sink in, man, as we close this out, bro. But that's exactly what you're talking about, bro. Yeah.
As we close, bro, I want to bring something out, and this is what I like to do on the show. I don't want to have any dead air. Let me look for my notes real quick, bro.
Dial it in, homie. You got this.
Check this out. So, guys, 60% of all men above the age of 15 are fathers in the United States alone. Let me repeat that again. 60% of all men above the age of 15 are fathers in the U.S. alone. 79 of those fathers are committing or thinking of committing suicide in today's age. 50% of men that commit suicide don't have a diagnosis or traces of mental health illness. We're around the corner from June, bro, which is Men's Mental Health Month.
Right.
And it's also, coincidentally, the Rainbow Month, right? And I'm just going to put that very lightly. Why do you think that they have taken that away?
Yeah.
Because if you break the men's mental health and men's spirit, you're able to penetrate every other aspect, every other hole in your brain, every other entity, every other person in your household. It is very important. And on the website, and not that I'm trying to promote the show, but by all means,
promote it.
If you have issues, if you have been contemplating, entertaining the idea if you have that shadow over your brain right now, if you just need to belong, go to paranormalradio.com and there's a 24/7 lifeline button that allows you to chat, call, or text right now and talk to somebody. Put your burden on somebody else and belong. Let's say you don't want to talk to any person, random person, because you don't trust the freaking government, because you live the paranoid radio style life like me. Then you can reach out directly to me. My number's associated to my Instagram account, and you can text me directly, and I will give you the time of day to lay your burdens on me. I will listen to you. Do you know why I'm telling you this? Because I'm a recovering addict, and it's never been so hard to be indulging into the conspiracy world, indulging into the Bible, being a full-time father, being a full-time provider, and not wanting to kill myself. I contemplate death every morning when I wake up at 3 a.m. And you know how I beat it? By belonging. I belong to a group of people. I belong to a people that keep me accountable. I lay down on my knees and I ask God for guidance. And most importantly, thank Him with one grip. Thank Him for your blessings, because we are overprivileged.
So
even the people that are contemplating. So if you guys need to belong, the most important is to grow this brotherhood, guys, and share that information. You don't have to listen to the show. Forget the show, bro. Save your life first. The show will come, you know?
Yeah. And so you people out there too, man, go. He's dead serious on what he's saying, man. It's all on his radio show. All that'll be in the comments below. But also I'll tell you too that you guys out there thinking that, oh, that won't work for me. It will work for you. When I was in the military, guys were in there. You would be surprised. I'm being dead serious when I say this. You would be surprised what just sitting sitting down on the sidewalk next to another dude who's going through it and just sitting there will do. Not even speaking. Like, hey man, are you good? Nah, man, I'm going through some stuff. Want to talk about it? Nah. All right, bro. I'm just gonna sit here and chill with you, man. And that's it. Just there, man, and let it sort it out, man. Again, man, your life's worth something. Trey, man. Good, great show, man. You got to promise to come back, dude, man. Because I feel like we got a lot more rabbit holes to go in down there. So I'm getting you on tape, man. You coming back?
Yo, next time we come back, I'm gonna give you a full presentation of the Olmec stuff that I have.
Yeah.
I gave you a little. I sprinkled it around here because I didn't know where you wanted to go. I was just following you. But next time, bro, I'm taking the helm and I'm bringing in the bombs of knowledge. I think it would be good because it has cryptids, it has AI technology, and it has stone. And guys, I want to leave you guys with a little bit of information before I leave. This is thing called Singerian stone. Let me get that for you.
While you're doing that, Trey, that's what I do at Enigma. I bring them on here. Let them sprinkle a little bit, not go too much. Because that way you got to come back and watch him next time when he's on the show, huh? See that, huh? Big brain on the YouTube algorithm right there.
Sardinia stones, go look it up. These are some of the stones that have been collected and put in one spot by an art collector. And these stones are cut in precise little edges that when you rub your hand around it just long enough, it starts humming a frequency, bro. They left acoustic properties in stone without us even knowing. All you have to do is literally rub your hand on it, and it's a massive piece of stone. Not just one. There's thousands of them, bro. Cut. I don't know how they did it, bro. And I'm telling you, bro. And when I see they is the ancients, the Olmecs, or these ancient civilizations that left technology in acoustic, in frequencies, in sound, so that you have to break down the sound in mathematical patterns and then come out with the language, like Sanskrit, one of the oldest languages in the world. I'm telling you, bro, it's huge. The research I did was like, oh man, it blew my mind, bro.
All right, I'm gonna have you back on, man. I'm gonna have you do that full presentation. So, all right, Enigmites, you know how we do around here. Trey, tell them one more time where they can find you, brother.
Paranormalradio.com, hashtag look it up, guys. Thank you so much for having me, dude, and sharing your platform, guys. The Enigmites, you guys are amazing. Keep doing what you guys doing. Ancient Enigma Files, you're an amazing soul. Thank you for having me on the show. And do not forget to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and a Spotify that allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it.
Sounds good. All right, Enigmites, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. Go check out his website, get on there. Got any questions for Trey, throw them in the bottom of the comment section down there, and we'll get back to you. But you know how we do. That's all you get for $1, nerds. And we're out.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.